Morning, y'all. It's a nice day, Saturday morning here. There's a Michigan game outside today, so people are bumping music. I'm getting kind of a slow start to my morning, and I want to do something with shuffleboard, but I want to do it a little bit differently than I normally do it. We've been writing code, we've been talking to users, we've been kind of talking about our backlog and doing a little design, but I want to do something different today. Christina York recommended a couple books to me in our interview. These two books right here, Game Storming and Problem Solving with Post-it Notes. And I ordered both of them, or she loaned me this one and I ordered the other because I had a sense that I might want to learn a little bit more about what it's like for people who are running collaborative meetings and what are the tools that they already have in their head and processes that they have in their head to do a really good job at that. I just want to know what it's like when it's going really well. My hope for these is not that we're going to find some like new amazing idea. My thought really is just that I'd like to look at these and see if that can help me prioritize the different ideas we have and get just a better context for who these people are. You know, I'm curious about how useful XYZ formats are. I think it's part of working on something is just understanding the market, understanding users who you're going to work on this with. I mean, the people who may be my really advocate, the users who really advocate for this product, they might have read these books. They might really care about these books. So I really want to know what they think about how to run meetings well. I want to be not an expert, but I want to understand this domain even better than I already do. And I think that there's a risk though to reading books, which is that it's very easy when you're starting a startup to just read a bunch of startup-y business books. And just think that you're not really ready to make a project until you read all the books. I think actually, frankly, reading books, even business books, is one of the best things I think people can do to educate themselves about how things are run better. Blog posts and videos and things like this are okay, but sometimes people who really know what they're talking about do write books, but you can get really distracted in books. You can really say, I'm just going to read the Lean Startup, or I'm going to read the Steve Blank book that's a massive book of all the different steps I should do, and get really pedantic and just pulling all these ideologies. And really what you're just doing is you're wasting a lot of time, because the real process, as I've hoped to demonstrate in these videos, is just making thing show to somebody, make things show to somebody. And so I'm aware that I'm at risk of reading books before I'm ready. That's actually the advice I got from somebody somewhere, I forget where, but they basically said, it's okay to read a business book. You should read a business book. Just read it when it's relevant to the problem you're trying to solve. So if you haven't started a company yet and you're reading a book on how to scale your user base to hundreds of millions of people, not really going to be relevant for you right now. You'll probably forget about it if you ever do have that problem. And if you are distracting yourself with that kind of book, then you'll probably never get to that problem. These, though, these are pretty relevant. We've already got a working thing. We're trying to make sure it's really finely tuned to a group of people that wants to use it. So I think at this point, these are some relevant books for me to read. I'm not going to sit down and read them like I would read, Count of Monte Cristo with the fireplace roaring from start to end. I'm really just going to cruise through them, probably leave some Post-it notes and mark up with pencil and stuff. I feel a little ridiculous, obviously, because I'm about to read a book on camera and post it to YouTube, and that's pretty ridiculous. Read. I'm about to skim, which is, I think, the appropriate way to read books like this. But, that's a process. The whole point of this video project is I'm going to do the whole thing on camera. I'm not going to do stuff off camera. I'm not going to go and work on things and come together and make them look like it just happened out of magic. I think part of the process for me is research. Part of the process is understanding my customers and my market. And a book that's really targeted at them is a really good way to do that. So today, I'm going to read and record myself doing it. Okay, see you in a minute. All right, y'all, let's get started. Rapid problem solving with Post-it notes. I don't know if you'll be able to see these pages much, but hopefully you can sort of see what I'm doing. Table of contents. How the Post-it note tools work, understanding problems, chunks, making decisions, guiding lights, the fog factor, Post-it note toolbox. Ironically, I've got Post-it notes to take notes on my book about Post-it notes right now. This is the most designer moment I've ever had. Okay, part two of the Post-it note toolbox looks like Okay, there's a bunch of formats that's useful. Some formats. Acknowledgements, introduction. Always skip this stuff. Most post up. That's pretty interesting. These are other methods that they might use, that I might want to use for inspiration. Chunking. What's the fog factor? An information chunk can be a fact, opinion, or a guess. Facts, opinions, guesses. You can write F, O, or G on a note to indicate whether the chunk is a fact, opinion, or a guess. I guess so. I mean, the first thing I thought of was like annotating notes. Can we have custom annotations? But I'm not convinced yet. The post-up is the first list tool. Use it for collecting information chunks. Objective. Actually, this is so similar to what we already have. Look, objective. Gather thoughts on a new toy line, and then a bunch of ideas. People's labels on them. The swap sort is a second list tool. Use it to sort chunks into an order of importance. First, reduce the list by combining similar items. Yep, I already do all that. Rejecting low priority ones. Sort by swapping pairs of notes, putting the most important one. Just like putting it into a group. The top-down tree is the first tree tool. So these are basically layouts you can have. Oh my God. They're talking about divergent thinking. That's a big part of this. There's divergent and convergent thinking, which I don't know if they'll get to this later in the book, but that's exactly the process we're going through. Oh, yeah, convergence right here. Ordering is definitely a thing here. Maps, connecting. Talking about team size, identify constraints, non-objectives, help store work area. They have a concept here called fair play, relative anonymity. This is kind of interesting. Efficient use of time. No one has to wait for a turn before giving suggestions. I think that's really true. That's useful. Effective data collection. Everyone is involved all the time. No one can sit back and let others do the work. Fair play. No one person dominates. That's what we're trying to do. And relative anonymity. Focus on individuals is reduced. Focus on the problem is increased. So you can look up who made the card, but it's important to know really just that the card exists. So I might want to de-emphasize the names on the cards, you know? Swap pairs of notes. I don't really know. Sequence of sorting a list of letters. Go look at this. A lot of this seems like just stuff that you would do. This is really resonating with me with what I know about how to run post-it note meetings. A lot of this seems like format that we don't want people to have to learn. We just want the software to do for you. Tree structure is interesting. So here's interesting. This is like a bunch of ways to show trees. I haven't really thought about tree structure, to be honest with you. I mean, there's a couple different structures we could have, right? We could do like, we have our just groups, just like slides. You could group, which we've talked about, and that's like, a group is like multiple groups. You could have quadrants, which we talked about. And then there's obviously this tree structure where putting things in a tree structure would look something like this. And then there's just like directed graph. I don't know if they call it in this book, but like that's something called a directed graph. Other things I've seen. And that's like where you have a lot of different objects. They're not in a tree exactly, but they're connected by these lines. That's what makes it a graph. And a directed graph is one that has arrows on each of the lines. Maybe that would be useful. I don't know. Let's see, where were we? Okay. I'm feeling this might be a little heavy-handed. I mean, there's a lot of structure here, like there's a lot of lines going on. I don't want things and ideas. I'm seeing more lines than I'm seeing ideas, you know. The ratio of text to just line stuff here is not ideal for me. I think this book is really hitting on something useful, which is that, you know, these post-it notes are a really good way to plan, and I want to do a digital version of that, but I think the format is a little, hey, there's our directed graph. The format is a little heavy-handed. There's a lot of terminology. I think this stuff is pretty intuitive. I don't know that. Yeah, a dotted line to show an arrow has different meanings than other arrows. It's like a flow chart. I think a flow chart's good inspiration for this. Let's put that in there. Flow chart. I think it's kind of like a, I guess it's similar to the others. Map shape. Map what happens first. Add subsequent actions, add arrows to show sequence. This is actually very similar to the design book, to the sprint book I've read. This book on, you know what, let me get it real quick. Where is it? So this sprint book is something that's popular in design circles for kicking off new design projects. I was using it with a client recently, and they talk about what can you do to sort of get the early information you need from a client about what their domain is, like what their business is, et cetera, et cetera. And what they suggest is doing something just called modeling. I think they call it modeling. it makes a lot of sense. Really, basically, it's just this. You describe the people who are in your thing, who are in your design, and all the different tasks they do, and then you identify the tasks that are breaking, and you work on designs for that. So it's just a real good way to do a very lightweight, user experience research thing. Look, post-its on a wall here, post-its on a wall here. How might we? These are none of the two good examples. This is a much simpler version to me of the description they have in this book of whatever they're calling action flow charts or something. It's just, something happens, arrows, it happens left to right in order of reading. I think to me, that's like a better example of this format. But maybe they got it from this book, who knows? Project framework, why is it happening? How can I fix it? 5 whys, classic 5 whys. I think this book is really abstract. Let's see what we got here. When you make complicated stuff like this, sometimes I just feel like you're making things harder for people to see what's going on than easier. Like these arrows, although they might technically describe these lines connect to things, it's not helping anybody because nobody's following those lines. Pulling off a post-it note for minimum curl. I love it. Okay. What do we get out of this? I think some validation that this idea of using post-it notes is not new, but we already knew that. Is there anything here that I want to use? I don't know. I know that like my work is essentially I'm a design consultant, but this seems like just some consultant BS. Like there's just a lot, that's a little harsh, but like there's just a lot of naming of things that don't really need to be named. That software could probably take care of us if we had good software. I'm glad we read it. That was really useful. I'm glad, it's good to know that this stuff is a thing, that I'm not crazy. I'm really curious to look at this one next. It's got a used sticker on it. This is Game Storming, a playbook for innovators, rule breakers, and change makers. I like it. I'm going to eat my Clementine snack. How does that go? What is a game? 10 essentials for game storming. Games and play are not the same thing. Games are a place where the rules of normal life are suspended and you play in the game world, it sounds like. This is pretty heady stuff. Characteristics of fuzzy goals. I like this slide. Open, explore, close. Open, set the stage, develop themes, ideas, information. 2, examine, explore, experiment. 3, conclusions, decision, action. That's the format. This is our first slide, essentially, of our project. Set the stage. And when we gather ideas, is all this Act 1. This is our voting process, and this is also our voting process. I guess it's not really a good mapping. Actually, I like this diagram better. It's pretty cool. This makes sense to me. It's a little messy, but I get it. You go broad, you figure shit out, you organize, you sort, you converge. You know what would be good to do? How about we talk to these authors? These would be good people to talk to about the book or the project. They seem to get it. Whoa, 3 games in a row. I love these diagrams. This is just kind of this aesthetic is just something I like. Whoa. Whoa, look at this. It's getting crazy, guys. This looks like mitosis or something. Meiosis? Mitosis? Meiosis? Okay. Ten essentials. Opening. The purpose of the opening is to establish a frame of reference. This is my book, so I can write it in. Set the context and lay out themes that will be explored in the trial. Okay. Convergent versus divergent, again. Clearly not the only person. We're all thinking on the same page. Fire starting. Fire starting. The most common and powerful fire starter is the question. A good question is like an arrow you can aim at any challenge. Another common fire starter is a fill in the blank. Artifacts. As you begin to collect, sort, and organize information, it can quickly become overwhelming. True. How do you keep track of it all? Good question. In archaeology, pieces of game, cards, counters, dice, are artifacts. That's what we're trying to do. We're trying to sort these artifacts better. Node generation. A node is anything when seen as part of a larger system. Okay. Everybody's having fancy words for like writing ideas on post-it notes. Node generation. These other things were called like chunks and had a whole ontology. People are a little. Maybe I'm doing it too, but sometimes I think it's not that hard. We don't want to make this more complicated. We don't want to sound smart. I'm not writing a book, so I don't care about sounding smart. I want to make an app that's easy. Zoop, 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 doo. Post up, fire starter. Yep. Meaningful space. Look, looks exactly like what we're doing. Ooh, it's important that they try not to name the columns. I was going to make them name the columns. I don't know why they think it's important that we don't. Like, not all of this process is going to be captured by software, right? Like, this is going to depend to some degree on the skill of the people in the meeting and the facilitator. We're just trying to help. So I don't want to pretend that we're just going to create this virtual world that eliminates the need for leaders on teams. Like, that's not a good idea. We want to accelerate and enhance leadership abilities of people who are on teams. And so these books might be useful things for them. improvisation, selection. That's our convergence. Okay. Whoa, this is intense. They went deep on this. They didn't mess around. These are kinds of questions. Linking. So they also have sort of a linking sense of this linking approach. Same thing as before. Look, same thing. Flow chart, they even call it flow chart. Mind map, that's basically like our directed graph. Borders, same as groups. Axes, same as sorting. It's all the same stuff. Trees. Look, literally just the same thing. Circles and targets. We did this one, so I'm curious about this one. It's kind of cool. One thing I'm concerned about is that whiteboards have such a big space. You can do so much on a large whiteboard. We're working in screens, and screens are just generally smaller than whiteboards. Sometimes they're not that much smaller, but sometimes they're much, much smaller. And so I don't think there's a ton of room for us to get into putting Post-its on things like this, because there's just not as much space, and this is just not as efficient space. I think I'm leaning more towards just like diagramming things that are a little bit more efficient, like just these quadrants or columns. Although, someday when computers are different, it'd be really cool to do stuff like this. Let's begin with the visual alphabet, a kind of proto-alphabet of visual shapes you can use to construct any kind of visual. Wait, what are we doing here? I think we're talking about how to draw stuff. What? This took a wild turn. Now we're doing perspective. More than one way to sketch. Basically, we're trying to encourage people that they can draw. It's okay. And this is all about creative space, so I guess it makes sense. We're trying to create creative space for people, encourage them to be creative even though they might not believe that they can draw. That's okay. The 7 P's framework. In preparing for battle, I've always found that plans are useless, but planning is indispensable. Always love that quote. How to play. Purpose. Product. I like this stuff. Purpose. Product. What artifact are we producing? People. Maybe what we need is a description on the meeting, not the slide. You know? Because the purpose that we're trying to share is really for the meeting, not the slide. Product. What's the artifact we'll produce? That's built in. People. Who needs to be there? What role will they play? That's supported, but we don't really guide you through that. Process. Built into our tool. Pitfalls. What are the risks? Ground rules such as no laptops. Well, we're breaking that rule. Prep. What would be useful to do in advance? It's kind of built in. We're actually practical concerns, logistics, where and when, importantly, who's bringing lunch. That's a good point. We've not figured out lunch. Actually, that's not a small thing. Like, food is a big deal. People can't be creative without food. I'm going to make a note for myself that just says, like when you're creating a new meeting, we should have some copy in the app that says like, meeting created. Don't forget to bring donuts. That's ridiculous, but also that's very much in line with the persona, the Becky style person who's trying to figure out everything for everybody and take care of people and be excited and create space for people to feel happy and contributing. And that's what we want. Card sorting, dot voting. Yep. I think you could do really all of these. Let's do, what we need to do is to do. Maybe we just need to start with blog posts on meeting types. Just like, or it could be landing pages too, but how to run a meeting with this tool. And we'll just go through the different kinds of meetings and talk about how you do it in Shuffleboard. Storyboard is cool. Hoodoo. Number of players. Hoodoo. Games for opening. So essentially what we're talking about is a list of games here. So, I mean, these are all things that we could do, you could do with this tool. These are sort of their specific, like, ideas for games. I'm just like, see how much of this. The rest of this book might just be specific games that they've created or just pulling from somewhere else. Like I see SWOT analysis here, which is cool, but also like a very classic thing to do. Oh yeah, look, games for opening, games for exploring. Lots of games here. These are cool ideas. I don't really understand them. So, I mean, in my dream world, all of these games that we have are part of like a library that people who use our product can use and spin up and play. You know what I mean? So we can come back to that stuff. I think we've got the gist of it. I just want to pull up my computer. I know I'm not sharing my screen here, but I'm just going to Google these people real quick. Frozen? Okay. You can see. So who we got? Dave Gray. Pretty sure that's like a 90s music artist. So we're gonna have to add some better terms. Sonny Brown and James McAnufo. Oh, these people are all really sort of doing similar stuff. Recommends these books. So he's a consultant in doing this kind of work. Cool. Board Thing. Hey, look, this is like a competitor. I like the name Board Thing. So this is probably similar. Let's see if it does it. Suggested reading. Is broken. Well, what are you gonna do? She's got a much more focus on drawing, it looks like, which is pretty cool. Here we go. It's working again. All right. 29 free sessions left. Welcome to Board Thing. Is this a board? Loading board, it is. Hey, look, you can see participants. Kind of like, oh my God. There's a lot going on. So this is like, it seems to be similar to these virtual whiteboards where you can just put anything anywhere you want. Whoa. What just happened? Oh my goodness. I don't know. So you can move stuff around, but see how it was nice and organized before? Whoa. So you can have nested stuff. It's nice and organized before, but I don't think it's it's not structured because you just move stuff around and then it gets a little, see how it's happening right here? This is what we're trying to avoid. The nested thing is interesting. See, you can lock, but I don't want to have to do anything in a menu to use the normal aspect of this stuff. Whoa. Can I nest all the way down? Probably. Oh man. Yep. Got a solid business model canvas deal there. Write on stuff. So it's similar to our virtual canvases that we've seen. Just kind of a lot. What is this? It's a little clunky, I think. Excuse me. That's a little. I think we can do better. But there's definitely the sense that it's needed. Like these people clearly agree. Oh, it's a little broken too. This is cool. All right. Well, I don't know about James. I haven't really got a sense of what James is up to. Oh, go on, go away. Done. Pixel Press Tech. What's that? So they're a video game company. This looks like a fun game storming moment. What? What is going on here? Okay, I don't know. Funky stuff. That's cool. Well, I think James might be more interested in video games than this stuff, but Sunny and Dave seem like right on the money. These are people I would definitely want to be talking to. Is that... I feel like that's a familiar face. I feel like that... I think she might be famous. I think I saw her at a conference or somewhere. I don't know. What's her visual thinking lab, I wonder? B Corp. Love it. Oh, it's an event. Thought that was Rick and Morty. Vision strategy development. I was looking to see if there are any other products here. I don't think so. Store or products? Cool. It mostly seems like paper stuff. I'd probably prefer to just email you. Can I just like talk to these people directly on Twitter or something? I don't really want to go through their consulting thing because I don't know who's going to be on the other end of this. Down, 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 down. Does he mention? He doesn't mention board thing in his bio. 3 books on design, change, and innovation. Here we go. Game Storming, The Connected Company. Clear, simple roadmap for business strategy. Cool. Okay, so David Gray and then his consultancy contact here, Sunny Brown, and I wonder if there's a better way to do it. Uh-oh, she's got a Wikipedia page. I don't think she's going to be super responsive. This is a busy, famous person, don't you think? Is that the same person? Cool haircut. I'm so jealous when people have good emojis. I have too big a nose to have a good emoji from the iPhone. All right, let's focus up. Sunny Brown doodling. Okay. What should we say? Well, how about this? I'm just going to put them as people to reach out to because I got to take a quick break, and I'm not sure what I'm going to say to them quite yet. Can I message people? You're not following me? I guess not. So let's add something to our timeline here. We're going to say, reach out to Dave Gray. Excuse me. Pardon me. Oh, wait. Sunny Brown at TED. I want to see her TED Talk. Dude, Orders Unite. Cool.
To them, of course, for doodling in classrooms, and they have discovered, and it is a tool that we need to remember and to relearn. They're visual, auditory, and a predictable Dhabi. So here's my point. Under no circumstances should doodling be eradicated from, here's my point. This is Frank Gehry, the architect's precursor to the Guggenheim in Abu Dhabi. So here's my point. Under no circumstances should doodling be eradicated from a classroom or a boardroom or even the war room. On the contrary, doodling should be leveraged in precisely those situations where information density is very high and the need for processing that information is very high. And I will go you one further. Because doodling is so universally accessible and it is not intimidating as an art form, it can be leveraged as a portal through which we move people into higher levels of visual literacy. My friends, the doodle has never been the nemesis of intellectual thought. In reality, it is one of its greatest allies. Thank you.
Big fan of doodling. I think she's right. I don't know if our digital platform thing can do doodling very well because it's like, it's just, I think what we've made is, I think text is a really good format for what we're making. I don't want to make a crappy drawing tool that's not as good as paper. If I can't do better than paper, I don't want to do it. I just want people to use paper. So I really agree with her. I wonder if her style would be a fit for what we're doing. Or maybe we should build drawing and doodling on cards. I think I was talking to a friend of mine recently about that, and they mentioned that too. Well, that might be necessary. All right. Look, because of our short attention span, we read 2 books and watched a TED Talk in 45 minutes. Big quotes. I'm going to take a break, probably, and reassess where I'm at and see what I want to do next. And refresh my tea. See you soon. Hey y'all, so book's over, and I think I just want to take some time to try to do some cleanup on the app. Nothing huge, just want to take care of some loose odds and ends that I think I was thinking about from last time. So I'm just going to do a little bit of time in our application here. Got a nice clean thing on master. Let's open it up. The other thing I want to do is pull up, let's see, my email, because I wanted to send my thing to Jonah, an update to Jonah about the new page I made. And I also want to pull up this simple note thing, my shuffleboard shower thoughts thing. 1 second. This is this list of stuff that I put together. Oh my god! When I was thinking about it the past couple days, I had a couple things popping into my head. This list is long. It's amazing how long these ideas just come to you when you're just not working on stuff. So let's just process all this stuff first, and then we'll get into writing some code. We'll move people to top. So I just had this idea that our app, when we're running one of these boards, you know what I should also do? Fix CTA. These are not in progress. I can hear a fighter jet going over my head, and that's because there's a Michigan football game happening right now, and they fly fighter jets over the stadium. So that's getting the app in front of some people. Show loading the user on upper right for non-board owners. Okay, that's a small thing. So move people to top. Basically what I'm saying is when you're in one of these boards, maybe these people down here should be up here, or maybe they should, I was actually thinking they should just be like in the list of things here. They shouldn't be part of the nav at all. And I also want to improve this nav in general. Like, I think this whole navigation, like the new slide button here, we just threw in, that's the wrong place for it completely. Like, we don't want that to be the spot. So I'm going to say move presence. I'm just going to do a bunch of small ones right now. Move presence bubble heads to top on first page, maybe bigger on first page. Fix URLs. Oh yeah, I want to make better URLs. Because like right now when you go to a board, it's /present/this. And at least it should just be /board. Let's just do that real quick. It's like the easiest thing to fix in the world probably. We want to get that taken care of ASAP. In fact, let's just search for /present. Nope. 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 Okay, we actually want to push to board now. We want board list item wrapper. Yep, that's the link to the board itself and the router. We'll go to a board. While we're at it, maybe we should rename to boards in general, because we have this stuff. We're talking a lot about meetings, but I think it should be boards in general. Like when it's a board, it should be a board. The meeting is an outside thing. The board is like the thing. Is this camera right? The board is the thing that like you're actually using. So there is a cause for calling some things meetings and some things boards, but what is this? That meeting is appropriate there. Actually, I guess most of this stuff is worthwhile to be left as meetings, but we'll just change the route. So did we break anything? Yep, hopefully. Boards, great. New board. It's a board now. Shuffleboard, get shuffleboard.com/board/ and a bunch of stuff. And yeah, there's two different things here, but who can tell even, that's fine. Great, all right, let's commit that. Probably should commit some changes. All right, great. Better board URL. Where is this? Well, it's done. I hit done. Fix URL is done. Help Scout Formspree. So Help Scout, it seems like a cool tool to use for support. I just like their design. It's definitely overkill for me right now because literally nobody's using this. But there's another tool called Formspree that is just a simple way to basically say, like, I think there's a free version. I can just put a form on my website and people can fill it out and contact me, right? Yeah, you just do this. So maybe we should just replace my mailto. Well, I'm going to make a note of it instead of doing it right now because I think it might take a few minutes. Do we have Help Scout? Do we have support? Everything under here. Okay. Chat widget for support. Support knowledge base. Actually, I guess that's similar to articles. Knowledge. Knowledge. Come on. All right. And Help Scout for support. I like Help Scout, but the real thing we want to do is Formspree. Forms. This one we want to do into in progress, or on deck rather. And Help Scout I do want to do later, maybe before launch. Okay. Blue background color. Oh, I just think this gray is what makes this look a little amateurish. Where's our background color? Global. Just make it blue 96. Or blue 97 since we already have one. Not quite. First of all, where are we using this? Button hovers, the account layout background. Cool. Disabled cards. Bubble heads. I think maybe gray 98. We just need a very subtle gray back here. It's super subtle, but can we bring these shadows back? Yep, that does it. So we got a shadow on this guy, and I also want to do that for our list of boards. Boards. Views, boards, boards. New board wrapper, new board list item wrapper. Both we're gonna add a shadow to. It's subtle, but I think it makes a nice little difference. All right. Is that what I was doing? Fix background color. Get your meetings back on track. Oh, that was just some copy I had for the home page. I don't really like it, to be honest with you, though. Mobile responsive. Oh yeah, I want to just go through and make sure this is looking mobile. Another one I just thought of. I'll do in a minute. This is one for sure, apparently. Board, where is it? Board list. Yeah, we need a mobile responsive version for that. that it? That'll do it. Probably do not need this margin though. Where's that coming from? That's better. Wait, no it's not. What happened to the spacing? Alright, that's good. Settings, we should probably just get rid of this whole page, to be honest with you, because there's nothing to setting. There's no settings to set. Yeah, we gotta get rid of that delete button being there. This nav, it's not good. Not good. One thing we can do for this nav wrapper thing is this the takeover layout. Yeah, that's a little tight. So we give it 3 view width. That, it looks, I know it looks tight, but it's actually going to be better for mobile, because that'll just feel like a lot more roomy on mobile. And then for desktop, yep. But this padding needs to update too. That's the nav something or other. So look, your screen is big, we got a fair amount of padding here. Your screen's small, very little padding. It looks bad here, but it'll be better on phones. Like phones always need less padding than it looks good on desktop. Once it's on your phone, you're like, oh, thank you, I needed that. Maybe that's too small, but good enough for now. All right, so we tweaked that. Wait, is there anything else we need to do to make things responsive? How's our homepage looking responsive? It's looking good. All right. Next. Fake links. Oh, I showed the shuffleboard to somebody in a bar recently. I met my friend for a soda water at a bar, and because I'm a wild guy, and he tried to sign up for something and looked at something. He noticed something was not clickable. Didn't look clickable. Like delete could be it. Oh, I think it was a participant join link. Which would be what? Board? wherever it says skip. No results for skip. Where was that thing? Try board container. Yeah, okay. So this should just be more link looking. All right, I think, let's see if that worked. Yeah, it did work. Look, join anonymously. Let's look for other spans with on clicks. How about that, just to be double sure. Well, you know what? That's one. I don't want to draw attention to it, but we'll move it. We'll fix that a different way. Any div on click? Yeah, but that's expected. Okay. So if we go to our other slides, yeah, our delete slide looks clickable now. That's good. Good. Terminology fixed. Oh yeah, we just talked about meetings and boards, but I'm not worried about it. Decorators. Oh, I had this idea that like React could do decorators. Like there's something about decorators. React. Like decorators, a new JavaScript feature where you can just add a quick line above a function. And you can add a wrapper basically around it, I guess, is a way to maybe say it. So can I just use, instead of writing all these like containers, can I just replace them with decorators? I don't know what that's about. You know, this would be like maybe a thing, but I just have to learn a whole new JavaScript feature. My thing already works. I don't need decorators. I'm gonna get us where the hell are we? Get us back to where we were. Let's say replace container components with React decorators. I.e. at with something like, you know, with auth and this is going to be miscellaneous, and I'm going to put it in the maybe column so we don't have to think about it anymore. Great. Link grading. Oh, I noticed on my iPad, I don't know where it is, but I put it up on my iPad, and this bit on the welcome thing, this breaks because, well, where is it? Yeah, this guy, because it's going to transparent, var blue 97, yeah. the way that it's hard to describe, but like it's as if it's going to use the basically this is what it looks like. See how like if you make this darker, right? Well, the way that the different OS or iOS or whatever Safari thing renders it doesn't work like this. So we need to basically fix that. Let me just show you how I think I've done it in the past. Yeah, it's this copy link guy. Let's rename this to well. I want a semantic color here. And I want a well transparent. This might seem silly. Let's just do blue transparent. No, we need well transparent. This is silly, but because of how it interpolates colors, basically, it needs to just we need to keep these the same. And keep this and just make this 0. Well blue 97. Well transparent is blue 97, just fully transparent in HSL. Which means this should work. It won't appear any differently for us here because it wasn't breaking on this computer anyway. Hopefully that'll fix it. We'll commit it and we'll check it later. If we end up pulling it on the iPad and it's fixed, then we won't worry about it. Otherwise, we'll come back and fix it. Performance profiler. Oh, I thought this would be cool. Like, why don't we just profile the performance? You gotta make sure things are quick. And this is a miscellaneous task, and we're definitely gonna do this later. Next. Jonah, Lindy, Steve, landing pages, compare to virtual whiteboards, compare to sticky notes. I just had this random idea that like we should show comparisons to, so I'll just take a note when we talk about landing pages. You know, basically pick a fight, show why we're better. All right, good enough. Jonah, Lindy, Steven, okay. Jonah, should I send him the latest update? Yeah. Let's pull our Figma up. share this with Jonah. Copy link. All right, let's just reply real quick. I think people know that the pray hands means thank you, right? Sent to Jonah. Oh, this guy Steven offered to share out shuffleboard with some folks. Let me, I have to give him access first, and I want to make sure we finish this cleanup before I do that, but I'm just going to say access to Steven. I'm kind of chunking this, getting at chunking this work I have to do to share it with people, not because it's efficient or a good idea, just simply because I find it very difficult, and I want to take time to write stuff while I'm not in this sort of frantic mode. Oops. Oh, Lindy mentioned it. Just a friend of mine I had lunch with, so I sent her the link. I don't think there's anything else to do there. Maybe she'd be good to talk to about it. Why don't I add them to my list? Oh, I remember there was a whimsical board when we first started out. I wanted to pull it up because I wanted to see if there's anything else we were missing in here, since we haven't looked at it in a real long time. This may kill the screen recorder, so I'll try to be careful. We've come a long way since all this stuff. This is what I wanted to do. How to share your screen. AirPlay, Google Class, Casts, or to add that there. We should take the copy from these emails and put them in our thing. Emails. What are their emails? Okay, that's all we need to do with whimsical. Casting help, we just mentioned that. Delete org bug. Oh, there's a thing that happened on my last video that I remembered when I deleted my organization and it broke because my user thought. When it goes like this: when an org is deleted, people who are quote on that org get an exception and can't use the app. Solution: fall back to another org or allow them to create one, ideally with an explanation. It's a bug. Comment. Done. We'll worry about this later. Post-launch. Oh, it'd be nice if you just created organizations for people automatically instead of having to name them. This is all about getting people to use the app faster. But if I remember correctly, there's some Firebase thing where it flashes pretending that there's no org for a sec. This would maybe create new orgs for people who already have them. Firestore cache issue. This will probably be an issue at some point, but we're not going to worry about it right now. Inspectlet. Oh yeah, there's this thing called Inspectlet. I was thinking about this last night. There's like, what's the other one? Inspectlet alternative. Use Inspectlet. What else? You can basically watch what people are doing in the app. Hotjar full story. I guess there's a lot. This is like a analytics thing or something. But it's not for right now. Emails, we just copied over email copy. We should make those emails, but I'm not worried about it right now. CTA, oh, I just added that one. This is just the idea that this, when you go to the main thing, our CTA here, this should tell you to go to your dashboard if you're logged in. Just need a little logic there, maybe. For example, in our layout, account layout. Yeah. So basically, if you're not logged in, you should get the same thing you've already been seeing. Join beta waitlist. I'll email you when shuffleboard is ready. If you are logged in, you should see something slightly different. It should just say go to your dashboard. Is that what this does? Yeah, just go to boards. Or log out. We need a log out option so people can, well, do we? They can log out from the dashboard. Do to your dashboard, go to your dashboard. So let's see if this works. So we just say go to your dashboard because we already know you're logged in. But if I go to my dashboard and I log out, then it says join beta waitlist or log in or join beta waitlist. Great. So this, just better CTA for logged in people. That's that. Free for nonprofits with a mission, environmental person. Yeah, I'm an environmentalist, I would say. I just saw a movie this weekend, kind of freaked me out about what humans are doing to the earth. I think we should make this free for people who are doing certain kinds of things that align with my values. I can do whatever I want because it's my app. So we don't need to do this right away because we're not charging anybody anything right now, but soon we should. I don't know where this goes. Maybe delight. I'm not trying to do anything with anybody. I'm just like, you want to make sure that the work you're doing is like helping the world, And I don't want to just make this a thing for people with bad missions to get their stuff done better. I wanted to support, I guess, anybody who wants to use it mostly, but especially I want to make it easier for people who are doing good stuff for the world. All right, went through that backlog. What do we have left here? So logged in using upper right. This is a big usability issue for Luke. Let's just try to fix it. Well, you know what? No, let's start with the big one first. I want to fix this navigation we started on last time. This whole slide nav thing is just kind of become like a womp. Am I still recording? Yeah. When I'm in here, see how it flashed onboarding or the organization thing? That's what I'm talking about. I don't know why it does that, but I do not want it to. Okay. So this thing here, like this page, join meeting, I think I kind of want to put the present stuff at the top actually, because it is super relevant on this page. Once you start the meeting, it's like not that useful to have everybody's presence here. But I think it's very relevant here. So that's actually good that we didn't do this whole refactor thing. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to yank it out of the welcome slide entirely and put it on the welcome slide front and center. In this meeting, present participants. Oops. Welcome needs board. Okay, it's getting bored. Great. Layout's wacky, but we can fix it. Now all we need to do is say join and maybe share. Like, let's tell them how to get this in front of other people. What do we say? AirPlay. And I don't really need those instructions. I just want to remind people how they can share it and really that they should share it. So how do you cast something in Google? I think you just click Chrome, Overflow, Cast. AirPlay. Some might be just total waste of time, but maybe not. I'm going to just call something like access boxes. I'm just going to copy the hero or whatever. It's just very similar style. Display grid, mobile, responsive. Come on. That's not what I wanted. screen is filling up. There's a lot going on. You know, that share, I don't really want it to be a well after all, because it's too dark and I don't like the emphasis. This caused a bit of a problem here. Clearly we're going to need to update our styles on that thing. Hang tight, we'll get started soon. This is really only necessary. I don't know if we even need this if you're casting your screen. You know what I mean? This one too. Is welcome really as important as my board? I don't think so. I think it should be bigger. How big is a bubble head? Let's try that out. So when you go into the meeting, it's bigger. You can see who's in the meeting. When you start the meeting, it's smaller because it's really less relevant. I think that's good. Done. Done. We gotta fix the nav for meetings though. There's just more nav brokenness here. So this is like, I think, better, but when you start the meeting, actually, okay, start the meeting's pretty good, or create a slide. I don't dislike that. Once you're in here, you know, this whole thing, the welcome, we gotta fix the welcome thing. Welcome. I guess what it really comes down to is this board thing here. This doesn't belong here. This belongs in 3 places. On the welcome, on the goodbye, and the real slide itself. Now let's just make sure it has access to all those places. Welcome, board.name. Well, welcome's already getting board. Goodbye, it's already getting board, so board.name there works. Slide is not getting board apparently, so we need to get it. And slide container, I'm sure it has board, apparently it doesn't. Slide manager, slide container. It is getting passed, okay. Yeah, we did some cleanup there that we didn't end up keeping. So now I'm gonna go to welcome, and instead of welcome, I'm gonna use this. This should be the H1. And this should be the H4. It's weird, but the spacing is throwing me off. So I'm gonna do something ridiculous. Just have just an empty space heading. So this is my board. That's like what we're here for. So if you named a meeting sprint presentation meeting, you'd want to walk in the room and see sprint presentation meeting. Maybe we should make that QR code a little bigger. Don't you think? We'll worry about how ugly that is later. Please set your devices to do not disturb. This could actually go in participants only, don't you think? Like if they're not the meeting runner. They get that. Okay, what have we done? All right, now let's actually fix our nav. So the start meeting, next in the back thing. It's been an hour, I should probably take a break. This new slide back, this stuff is all just not working. My plan, let's just test out a version of this real quick. Here's my thought about what to do with this instead. Yeah, we kind of had this idea going on already. This, what about a version where it's like this? This almost makes it look busy, like there's stuff going on up there, but there's really not because there's only that one drop down. So we could just put everybody up here. Or whatever. And then here we can put the back arrow. Way, oh my god. Way where it belongs. Way over here. Where you don't really look at it and it's not going to get all clicked on over here. And then this stuff, we can add stuff in line. Like maybe, don't we have a ... overflow idea? Yeah, this guy. That way this stuff here, we can have like, these will just be like link bits. Things you can do instead of going next. What the hell just happened? Or overflow menu. Do we need 2 of these overflow menus? I don't think we do. If we don't, I kind of like the plus button where it was originally. Maybe we need to expand this to do a couple more things. Like, maybe we should just, like, first one thing I was thinking would be good here is just go to slide. So like, you know, it's like a big menu that we can put stuff in so people can get around better. We don't have to deal with all this stuff. I think I like this. I also wonder if this should be like down here, because I'm probably gonna want to put it there for participants anyway. Is this crazy? What is that thing? What? So what I like about this is that it's getting this thing out of the way of the board. I don't want that up in everybody's business. I just want this to say no ideas yet. Up here. My keyboard game is not on point today. In fact, this should just be like these empty states. Should do like a better empty state for this. You know, to encourage people that their stuff is going to go here. Show them that that's what's going to happen. I think this might be a better hierarchy. Meeting title if you really want to read it, but the big question up top. What went well this sprint? And a bunch of question answers. Up top are the people who are going to answer them. I think that might be better. Down here is stuff for the presenter, which is actually going to be good because it's going to be blocked by people's heads. So they can go back if they really want to, and maybe it should just be like super subtle, you know. They can type their own ideas, get them in there. Another option is having them be a post-it, but I don't really want to do that right now. And they can add a new slide or go to the next one. Then at the end, yeah, I like this restart. Maybe the last slide here I was thinking should be finish meeting potentially here. And then restart meeting here. Okay, I think that's kind of cool. I'm gonna take a break and then maybe we can continue to polish this navigation stuff. See you in a bit. Okay, y'all, we're gonna try to clean some of this up. Wrap up a few more things today, maybe. We need some tea. Where are we at? We got, okay, so one thing I wanna work on is this drop down thing. That's in our list of things to do. This is in progress. Drop down thing. We need these drop downs because there's all these delete and stuff links. The more features we add, the more we want to tuck them away. So drop downs, nav, styles here. I think this is a roughly good layout. I kind of want to try this, I guess. That's part of this. Okay, reorder cards, that's on deck, but I don't think reordering is actually the biggest deal. Formspree, these are actually two things I might want to do, maybe even today if we have time. People besides a meeting creator can run a meeting. We'll have to do that eventually. Typing would be good. Users can see who previously joined the board would be good. I want to get that starting to work into our process because who's in these meetings is important. I'm going to say not depending on the author for card colors because the book we just read said that anonymity is ideal. You can find out if you really need to, maybe, but generally you don't really care who has the ideas. I want people to find out who wrote them, but I don't want to emphasize authorship. So that means this is going to be for later. Icebox. Grouping cards. Probably, eventually, we're going to need to do that. This one's going to move to getting in front of people. This one's going in front of people. Card detail view. What did I say about this card? I guess, but really this is a maybe at this point. I don't know if there's really any benefit to that. This is a delight thing. Vote mode. We don't know if we even need a vote mode yet. Demo meetings would be good for user onboarding. This would be good to do. This waitlist without email thing, I think we should just open it up and get people using this sooner than later. So I'm going to put that in a won't do. I don't think we need to do that after all. I want to get people using this thing sooner. A lot of onboarding elements here. How might we get people meeting links ASAP? Well, we've done QR codes and we've done copying link. But we think those might work, so this was going to go to the icebox. I guess that would be useful. That's good to do, but we can do it post-launch. Users can sign up with email and password. I don't know that we need this yet. I think it should go to the icebox until we actually need it. People have asked for that, but I think we've fixed things a little bit. I don't think we really need to worry about that. Create orgs automatically. I'll say, or at least just let them create without a modal. There's kind of an annoying modal there. Inspect it. This is pre-launch. Read books. Hey, we did that today. Except for the Indie Young one. But that will have to be iceboxed. Really, it's a maybe at this point. Info about a meeting when it's done. Let's just split this into two. Because we already do show information about it when it's done. And show total number of responses when meeting is complete. And both of these, I think, are strong maybes. Better like card styles. Yeah, we gotta tweak styles a little bit. Getting the app in front of the people. all this stuff is really totally not for us to worry about. Okay, so let's go back to slide navigation and see if we can make some improvement here. I think there's like this new slide thing. I mean, let's just take a look at this first. That's just not the way. You gotta know that that's gotta not be good. Maybe this slide nav thing should not be involving new slides in general. Because how are we calling slide nav? It's from the slide manager. So I think that new slide should actually be, I think we should remove it from, I don't think slide nav should have a new slide. I think we're getting stuff confused. This is about navigation. But this is not. This isn't a separate concern. And this is on the last slide. This is for our goodbye slide. And this is for normal slides. Create slide here. And we need this .props.board ref. How does create slide work? Oh, okay. So we just got to do this way. Yep, that makes sense. this slide bottom bar, we gotta update this guy. Kind of what I wanted. Really heating up my computer here, apparently. So I think this is a little bit more sane. Start meeting, stuff's over here, new slide over there. I think. It's not the right layout, but it's a little more organized. I think this finish meeting, I kind of want it to be a restart meeting. Is it anywhere else? Nope. I want to put something here called last slide. Is last slide. Is on last slide. And that's this dot props dot slides. I want to find out if the current slide is the last item in the list of slides. Is on last slide. Is not props dot slides. Curious if this will work. All right, let's see. Start the meeting. Next slide. Next slide. So that's not working. Let's write a debugger. Yeah, that's what I really want, find index. Because this props dot slides, find index, slide ID. Slide is not defined. I5, but that should not be the current slide. So we're going to go next. This time it's EX, but our current slide is EX, so it should be true. Let's fix it. Slide ID is I5, current slide is EX. Next. Slide ID EX, current slide EX. So current slide index should give us something. Current slide index is 1. Current slide index is 1. This dot props dot slides dot length is 2. Because it's an index. Let's try that out. Yep, look back. Okay, next slide. And we can finish meeting if it's the last slide or create a new slide. Great. This navigation is getting better. And then you're done, and you can restart the meeting. Which doesn't seem to work because we changed what it does. Yeah, that's not what we wanted. Close meeting. We can maybe have an option to restart somewhere else. That was a bug. If you don't, canceling new meeting should cancel it. No, it's just a breakpoint. That's good. Oh, do you want to forget to do blog posts on meeting types and to do talk to these people? We have that, but also wasn't there one more thing we wanted to do? Yeah, description on meeting. Just a bonus. So now that I have this obvious point to close the thing, maybe we don't need to have this big X there to close it early. So we can do a drop down instead. So I still want to fix our nav down here to be better, for sure. Actually, for meeting over, I don't care who's still in it. Like, the participants is irrelevant at that point, right? I think it's irrelevant. I just don't care. We'll put it in the report here eventually because we need to have that happening. But like, the meeting's over, so by definition, nobody's in the meeting anymore anyway. This is just a summary of what happened. And instead of calling it summary, we should have the meeting title in there. Also, while we're in report, it looks like there's this confusion here because it says prompt, or it should be a name slide. Yep, that's better. Okay, let's commit it up. Style. Done. Oh, we got to show users in the upper right. I think this is related to drop downs. I'm tempted to try building drop downs right now. Is it too late? We're gonna have time for this. I want to do it. Actually, we don't need it because there's nothing in the upper right for non-board owners because they don't have the X because they're locked in. So all we're trying to do here is on the board. This was a reusability issue for Luke. On the board, this takeover layout, excuse me, so I'm going to pass the auth information into our board. And I'm just going to show a little auth badge or something here to show who you are when you're logged in, so you get a general sense that you're going to be posting as this person. And what is an auth badge? Well, it's just a bubblehead. Let's just make it literally a bubblehead. All right, how's this looking? Whoa, what the hell? Nope. So if I join anonymously, not good. It does show this thing in the upper right as a, is it a bobblehead? But we have to position it. We need to limit. How do we limit a JavaScript array? Slice 0 size. try that out. Great. They're both limited. It's in the upper corner. And the background on that is super light. Let's give it a little bit of color. Gotta capitalize those. Great. So you can see that DF is in this meeting, and you are DF. It's actually me and DF, and now I'm in the meeting too. Cool. I think that's important. It's important to show who's in this meeting because that was a usability issue. All right, we're good. Done. Done. Drop downs I think are going to be a bigger deal, but I do want to do Formspree forms because I want people to be able to email me. I want to get out of private beta, and I need this to do that. It's just a terrible experience. Sign in. I forgot my password. Thought it did. Okay. Okay. No wonder that's cranking away. Oh, I do have submissions here. Okay, whatever. support for him. I do not like how they look. I do not like how they write their React code. I'm going to do this instead. So I'm only going to show all this label stuff if they don't have an email. How does this work? All right, we got a contact form. Why is it showing this hidden form field? Change my mind on this. You know, let's worry about the not auth case later. Guys, I'm losing it a little bit, that's why. I'm just not sharp right now, so we gotta get this taken care of sooner than later. Type hidden. That's why. Cool. Send feedback. Well, now that it's in there, I'm going to make this not tertiary. I'm going to give this form just a little padding, or margin rather. And let's wrap this up. I don't know. It did work. That's good. But this whole React thing, it did not work. And this whole state setting, this is just not necessary. You got to get rid of the feedback in the top bar. No longer relevant. Got it, thank you. Okay. Am I getting emails when these happen? Yes. Good. All right, so that's better. We fixed our feedback. Done. I'm a little bothered that we have a full settings page that has literally nothing in it. Kind of want to just get rid of it. Would also make logging out quicker. because the subscription, it's a whole thing. I don't really want to refactor that for no reason. This isn't a real drop down. I want to fix that for sure. I've got a bunch of boards here. This is looking not too bad. It's inputs work. I want this to be really prominent because I want people's feedback. Rename meetings, that's a thing. Should be able to do that. This width, this input should be full width. Yep. Should let people restart meetings. Because otherwise you have to go back. This will probably go away once we do our real drop downs. Deleting boards, deleting slides, adding a slide. That's not good. Let's try that. Yep, much better. Okay. I think it should just be one. There's a bug where slide titles don't wrap, apparently. Let's make this a text area, question mark. I want to use create slide uses window.prompt, and the reason for that is so participants don't see slides without initial titles. Like this. That's not great until I go like this. That's better. I'd rather have the question there immediately. Looks a little better. Okay, guys. Made some good progress. Getting it ready to go, to share. Soon we're going to go through this one, get the app in front of people. Let's close some stuff down. Get it up on staging. We already documented that. Reordering and grouping is the big one. All right, gal. I feel like there's a big backlog. We got to get some stuff moving. We got to share it with more people. It's actually getting pretty close to the point where we can do that, where we can demo, where we can open up the gates and not have just private beta people playing around with it. I saw there were some more people who signed up, which is cool, but I'm not going to show their usernames on here because it's a video. We got to keep our people's stuff private. But that's what I'm working toward. I'm a little tired. It's a good time to stop today. I'm going to enjoy the rest of my Saturday. See ya.